Alright, I'll put those dishes aside, back to our movement, and you can see there's excess oil on there. In theory there shouldn't be any on the maintenance can, but there's heaps of it there. Alright, let's take the back plate off. We'll start off by undoing the nut, get a dish to put them in. Alright. Made in 1972, GM engine. Well, GM engines, the clock, the movement is a Regula 25, but it was made in 1972. I'm not expecting any dramas with the bushings, the holes that are drilled into the plate on these little movements, one-day movements. They usually don't do enough work and the weights aren't heavy enough to put any excess stress on the bushings. Alright, I'll remove the other two nuts from their respective pillars, and then we'll take the plate off and be careful of the crutch. Out through there. Quick look at the back plate. Doesn't seem to be a lot of excess oil on there. The pendulum hanger here, I'll remove that because it's steel, that can't go into the ultrasonic cleaner. But we'll clean that with some kerosene along with all the other parts that we're doing. The front doesn't look too bad. Alright, we'll check the bushings in a minute. Alright, time to remove the parts. Crutch looks a little bit bent out of whack, but we'll check that before we go. Now the pallets, I thought they might have had a slight mark on them. Alright, before we put that back, we'll run over that with one of my 2000 grit sticks. Alright, put that aside. Now, we'll take the parts out. Going side first. Great wheel, third of which is plastic. Put that there. Then the second wheel, teeth look alright on that. Then the escape wheel. If you're going to have trouble with a wheel, with teeth on a wheel in a movement, that all the other ones look alright, you're going to have a problem with the escape wheel, and it's always a good idea to put it on a flat surface. A 6-inch rule is a good start, nice level surface, and spin the wheel slowly on it. You'll see whether there's any bent teeth in it or not. Want to learn more about repairing mechanical clocks? Become a Scottish Clock World member. No more annoying video ads ever, because all members' videos are ad-free. Choose either a Patreon or YouTube membership. Both memberships enjoy the same perks. Join up links are in the description below. Pin on that for a small wheel. Alright, we'll take that out. Put that over there. This piece underneath it, that wheel there, has a maintenance cam on it. So we normally leave the maintenance cam on unless you've got a specific reason to take it off, because they're a bit hard to get resettled once you remove them. Alright, we'll remove this piece here. The circlip on this, once again, being careful to keep it within close proximity. I'll turn it round, it's not too easy to get at. There we go, that's got him. There it is. I'll put that there. And now we can take that lever out there. Yeah, that should come out. There we go. And guess what? Excess oil. Look at that. Down there. And down there, both sides of it. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if we've got excess oil in there also. Yep, we've got a bit. Alright, I'll put that aside and we'll clean that up in some kerosene in a moment or so. Alright, well that's the parts there. I'll get them ready to go into the ultrasonic cleaner. That plate doesn't look too bad. Strangely enough, normally plates are covered in oil if everything else has got excess oil on it, but in this instance, not so. Alright, I'll get them ready for the ultrasonic cleaner and then we'll come back and see what they look like. Alright, well we're ready to start cleaning the parts we couldn't put through the ultrasonic cleaner. The metal parts. I've got a tub of kerosene here that I'll put the parts into. You'll remember a lot of them had serious amount of oil and muck on them there. So we'll put them in for a moment, swill it round, let them soak. We'll have to do that great wheel too because it's got plastic on it. There's another plastic one, pop that in there. Pendulum leader support can go there. Move that over a bit. There we go. And the star wheel, which is pretty tough to get off, and I think there's a reasonable amount of dirt in there. So I'll just swill those round for a moment, let them sit there and start to get wet with the kero, and now we'll clean them. I've got a toothbrush here, we'll run over them fully. Press the bristles down inside the hole there, might clean it out a shade more. I've got a piece of clean cloth here. Once I've cleaned the pieces, I'll put them on there, and then we're going to put them into some lighter fluid to finish the job. But initially we've got to clean them. So run up and down both sides. This is the rack, as you can see, and I'll show you a good way for cleaning out sections of that later on. It's not very easy to put a piece of pegwood down because they don't go in very far, as you can see, and if you make it really long, there is a possibility it can break off, and that'd be even worse than being dirty, that's for sure. Alright, just continue around here. These aren't too bad. I'm just primarily looking at taking any oil off that was on them. That's the snail. Now first wheel, run over that. This is from the going side train. Plastic wheel on it there. I'll just check to make sure that the ratchet works. Yep, that's working alright. Put it on our clean cloth. And continue cleaning. Alright, that's okay. This piece was clean, I didn't see any oil on that, but we might as well do it while we're doing the rest. Star wheel. Being careful not to bend any of those little lugs up. It's not particularly likely with a toothbrush, but we're aware of it. And the pendulum leader holder wasn't too bad, but the rack stop lever, this piece here, had a huge amount of oil and gunk on it down there. So that should, yep, that's looking a lot better. Alright, that's the first part of the operation. I'll get rid of the kerosene, I'll put that back into the bottle, then we'll get our naphtha and we'll move into the next phase of the operation. I'll fill our tub up with lighter fluid, or naphtha it's called in some countries, but it's the same deal one way or the other. Now we'll put the parts in and let them soak, spin them around a little bit so that they get covered completely with naphtha, including down in the tubes. That'll get rid of the kerosene so that we can then move on to the next step, which is drying them off, including that plastic one. I'll put that in there. Right, now we don't need to run over those with a toothbrush, so I'll put that aside, and we'll now take these pieces out, give them a quick check, lie them on the clean piece of cloth there. Yep, that looks alright. They've come up rather nicely actually. So we'll end up with all the movement parts clean by the time we've done this. Well, other than the chains, which we've got to clean, but they are done differently. They're not done this way. Alright, so there's our parts, waiting to be dried off. I'll put the naphtha away, and then we'll come back and dry them off. Alright, all the parts are there now. They've all come out of the naphtha. Now we'll run over them quickly with a hot air gun. This character here, on low. Just a quick flick, that's all it takes, because the naphtha evaporates very, very quickly. You don't want to get the parts hot. Alright, that's all it takes. So those parts are all nice and clean now. I'll put them in their respective tubs, and then we'll clean the chains, being those incredibly unattractive things there. These are the parts that have come back from the ultrasonic cleaner. You can see they're looking pretty good. It does a very good job. Nice and clean. And a couple of sets of wheels. Right, we're going to put those back into the movement in a moment. But first up, I forgot to show you how you can clean inside these pieces, and there's obviously one on the snail, and if you like also inside the minute wheel and the star wheel where these pieces fit onto the movement. Now, it's not easy to be able to elongate a piece of pegwood to fit into these pieces, not easy. So a simple way to do it is just to cut a little piece of material. It's trial and error, finding out what size fits, and then put a piece of wire on the end of it. So what you do then is insert the wire into the piece, and then using a pair of pliers, grab the wire, hold it tight, then start to pull it through. And you end up with that. And then you can see that's relatively tight. You can then pull it that way and pull it back again, and 2 or 3 times like that. Have a look at the cloth. There's no marks on it, so that's quite clean inside there. It's a very easy way of doing that, and also for cleaning holes, large bushings and other holes in plates, back plates and front plates. If the hole's big enough, which they sometimes are on plates, then you can use a shoelace or a boot lace and just pull it backwards and forwards through it, and you remove any oil and dirt that's inside.